Okay, great. This is being recorded. Thanks for those of you that have joined and are on your way in. This is Brian Terrian from the Disability Digest, and today I'm going to cover some impairment-related expenses that if you're on your Social Security disability benefits that you qualify for. That's one. I'm going to answer some questions that came in this week, and then I'm going to give you 42,000 reasons as to why you should know the rules and understand what you can make while you're going through the disability approval process, and what you can make and keep your benefits once you're on the disability approval process. And I have a prop for today, because some people seem to want to do it their way, and that's Mr. Frank Sinatra up there and his famous song, I Did It My Way. Well, people that do that with their income, as I'm going to discuss with you, pay a very heavy price. So, at the end of the program today, I've got a little prop for you. See if you can tell the difference. Right? I'm going to go through a few examples of what not to do. So let's get started. If you are interested in working and supplementing your Social Security disability benefits, I think it's a great idea. You can do it and earn up to $880 a month at the time of this recording. And there are some expenses that are little known, unique, that you can write off. And when the show is done, I'll put it in the show notes, the link, so you can go and check it out. Now, I'm not a tax pro, so but certainly consult your accountant. I know others that have done this, and it's totally legit. It's in the regulations with Social Security, so you can expense it out. So some of the things that you can expense, and I'm just going to give you the big picture here, is like personal attendant. So we have an interview that we did with Andy Leaf, who has put more people back to work that are disabled that I know, and he's a good example. He has an attendant that has helped him for different work-related items. So if he needs assistance, he's in a chair. So if he needs assistance going anywhere, if he needs assistance at his house, he has somebody that he can hire. He can expense that out. So that's number one. Certainly medical devices that you need in order to move around, to maybe an accessible desk would be fall into that device category, or maybe even into the equipment category. But any medical related device that you need for work. Payments for equipment that you use for work. Now, some of these fall under regular business deductions, computer, cell phone, internet, that type of stuff. But anything that accommodates your condition will certainly be applicable to the these work impairment-related work expenses. Payment, category number 5 that they have is payment for drugs and medical services. And that also includes transportation costs. So, a few ways to look at this. If you are already working and you might think that some of these will be of benefit to you, follow the show notes and check it out and see if they are. If you are experiencing or incurring some of these, and you're thinking about going back to work, or maybe this would be an incentive for you to go back to work, then you could write off these expenses. So that's a few different ways to look at it. So that was related to a question last week. Somebody had brought that up. Here's a question that came in this week from Noreen. Noreen says, I need advice, please. She's approved for her Social Security disability. Been on benefits since 2014. However, her check is not at a desirable level, like some other people I'm sure that are out there listening to this. So she's wondering if she could collect her deceased husband's Social Security check, and wanted some advice on that. So there's so many variables here, but I'm just going to speak in some general terms based on the information that was provided. I would first of all assess, let me just back up a little bit. Her concern was that if she attempts to get her husband's check, that she may lose her check. So I'll speak to that first. It's like a disability review. I mean, if you qualify for disability and you're on benefits and you have the medical conditions that are being treated and you have limitations that prevent you from working, you're already on disability. That part, in my opinion, should be fine. And you're using that same criteria to collect on your husband's. And I know how to coach people to get on disability benefits, but this is a unique question, and switching from one benefit to another I'm not so sure of. But I would say that I don't see any harm in trying if there is enough money there to justify the effort. If you're dealing with a difference of $20 or $30 a month, do you really want to go through all that hassle? But if you're dealing with, $300 a month, which is $3,600 a year, and you're going to be collecting that difference for another 10 years, well, yeah, all right, it's $36,000 worth some time to put in it. That's what I'd take a look at. The challenge with this type of case is it's not clear to me if you could get any legal representation to take a really strong, hard look at your case, because there's no back benefits unless you are willing to pay out of pocket for some type of consulting advice if somebody was to do that. I don't know anybody that does that type of work. So those are a few considerations. Again, take a look at what it's really worth. But one more thought on this is, and this is a follow-up to last week, is if you're tight on your finances and living, then I would definitely take a look at maximizing your existing benefits. I mean, every day we find people that are leaving money on the table. They're missing subsidies. They're on plans that, insurance plans that they probably shouldn't be on. And like today, we found a plan for somebody that gives them $240 a year in shopping credits. Just one little thing. And this is money that this person is spending out of pocket at buying toothpaste, toilet paper, shampoo, just regular household items. Boom, gone. So there's little things like that. So take a look at that first, and you can, if you haven't done so already or need help doing it or don't know how to do it on your own, you can contact us here, and we have some folks that perhaps could help you review your benefits. Okay, next question is from Shannon. And Shannon is going through the disability approval process. She's at the stage where she is waiting for a hearing. But she has two questions. The first one is, I just saw my new primary care doctor and is requesting that I go see a psychologist. Will that help my case? The answer is yes, because if you have conditions, this backs up to what I just said, if you have conditions that are not being treated and there is no supporting medical evidence, then Social Security cannot really, they're not really able to look at anything that is going to determine if that condition is preventing you from working. But if you're being treated, you've got medical records, you've got medical notes, maybe you have a letter of support from your doctor, then you could use that as additional evidence to strengthen it. It's very common that people that go through the disability approval process develop, depression is common, PTSD, bipolar. But let's just back up to depression. If you're a chronic pain sufferer or have fibromyalgia or lupus or conditions like that, it's a common developed side effect that if treated, documented with notes in your case, will definitely strengthen it. So the next question is from Shannon. I am currently going through a disability company, and I'm coming up to 1 year and still waiting for my court date. What can I do to speed this up? Well, first of all, I always encourage people to get their expectations in line. and because there really isn't, I'm going to share with you a few tips that you can do, but they're long shots, frankly, and you are subject to a waiting line. It's just like, going to a restaurant. Unless you've got some VIP status and you can cut the line, you're going to have to wait. And that's because others are ahead of you, and there's a backlog at Social Security. But people don't understand this, and they get annoyed with their representative. It's the first place where they start pointing the gun. And so understand what it is, and there's public information out there where you can look at your local hearing office and you can pinpoint how long the wait is. Like in Louisiana, it's 12 months, and in California, it's 24 months. And we have a course here that you can actually enroll in at the Disability Digest. That the first thing it does is shows you how to target your date and when your hearing date would be, and then it disperses courses to teach you what to do and what not to do while you're going through the process. So here's some of the things that are available to you. You can request a dire need request for a hearing. Very seldom do they get approved. But if you have a situation where you have children, you're on the verge of being homeless, and it's going to jeopardize their well-being, and you're behind on your bills, and you can document all this, you have eviction notices, you have all kinds of support, and you put that in, that is the best shot that you're going to have if you fall into that situation. If you have a spouse that's working and you're in a stable environment at your house, probably not. I haven't seen it happen. So that's a dire need for a hearing. And Shannon, you're working with a disability representative. If that's the case, you should ask them to do it. Another tip that people miss while they're going through the process, it's not relative to speeding it up, is SSI, which is social insurance. So if you are single and your assets are less than, say, $2,300 or like $3,200, $3,500, $3,500 as a married couple, and I'm vague on this because it's different in every state, but if your assets are below that, and you can have a house and a car, but if you've got a big pot of gold in your backyard that people know about, or a 401k, then it knocks you out. But if you're below the poverty level, then you could get your SSI payments, which is like $772, and Medicaid. That could help you through the process. So that's another angle to look at. So here's another tip that has worked for us. And it is using your local government official and to help you get your case, either the hearing moved up or it approved. So the strategy actually has been validated with Greg James, who is a member that we worked with to get approved. And once we filed his request for reconsideration, which is the second appeal, and we did a little work on his case, he called up his local government official and he said, hey, listen, here's my situation. I don't know why my case is not getting approved, but I have some real significant health issues, and anything you can do to help me out. So short conversation. He was prepared for it. He knew what to say about his health conditions, how long he'd been out of work, and his work history, 3 key points. And his representative got involved and got him approved. And he got him approved in like less than 2 weeks. Similar situation in New York here with we had just filed at the same exact point. We just filed the reconsideration. That seems to be the key point, which is where you're at, Shannon. And the same thing was done with this individual. She had a solid work history, super amount of medical, and it was a good, strong case. And that one was done within 48 hours. So those are 2 examples of cases that have been approved. So in the show notes, I will put the interview with Greg James where he tells his story in more detail about how it works, and with his story will be the directions of what you can do to speed it up. So just to recap, I haven't seen this effective at the initial level. I just haven't done that, but I've seen it effective at the reconsideration level because the basis of contacting your representative is that my case has been denied. So if you do it at the original, it's like, I'm applying, can you get my case approved? It doesn't seem to have the same ring. All right, so one other thing that you can do while you're going through the process here, and this doesn't really have anything to do with speeding it up, but it sure is a big tip, or revisiting a tip that we have here to get your case approved, which is understanding how to communicate with your doctors, to express your limitations, and how to get written doctor support if they will actually provide it. So I've covered that extensively in prior shows, so I'm just going to put it in the show notes. So while you're going through the waiting process for your Social Security disability, just to recap, dire need, long shot, using a representative if you've got a solid case, you know what to say and do, and you're organized when you call and you get them on the phone. And if it's an election year, then you really got a good chance. All right, so in the doctor support part. Okay, last thing I want to go through is the do it my way concept. That's why I have my prop on with the hat, like Frank here today. There's some individuals that chose to do it their way, and I want to share their story so that you understand how expensive it is to do things your way. And even if you're on benefits, there's a message here, I hope, of value for you, for yourself, and for others that you may see that are going through the process. So I'm going to first of all start with 42,000 reasons why you should understand how much you can make and go through the disability approval process. So here's what happened. I'm going to use, keep this kind of vague to protect these two individuals' identity. The first one I'm going to reference is James. And James started his case in late 2015, and so 2016 went through the process. He got denied. 2017, he was scheduled for a hearing in the February of 2019, just recently. So 16, 17, 18, those 3 years. So what happened with James, like it does with a lot of people, is he got frustrated and he had a hard time making ends meet. And so he got a job. And his job that he took, with his understanding, is he was earning below the $1,080 level, right? But he actually wasn't. Here's what happened. Kind of a unique situation, sad story. He was cleaning pools, and he wasn't able to do it, and he reduced it down to 1 day a week, and then for the other days during the week, he found somebody that would do the work for him. However, the person that was doing the job for him wasn't a citizen, didn't have a green card, didn't have a Social Security number, didn't have a bank account. So James says, listen, here's the deal. I'll collect the money for you. You do the work and I'll pay you. Problem solved, right? Not really. So this started in late 2018. So remember, 16, 17, 18, he was going through the disability approval process. So what that reflected is that when he took the money, the gross amount of the entire job, and he paid it out, first of all, he was an employee. He shouldn't have done this because it's illegal for a bunch of reasons, and I won't get into all that because I'm not a labor professional, but he was keeping an amount that was below 1,080, but he was getting paid over that. So what happened with the effect of this is it showed to the judge that in late 2018, and for a long stretch of time there, he was earning more than the allowed amount. So the judge said, listen, I'll approve your disability because you stopped doing this like at the beginning of 2019, late 2018, and you can have your benefits going forward. But for 2016, 2017, 2018, I'm not going to award you benefits. So that's $42,000, give or take a dollar or two, for that one simple thing, innocent thing that he did, that he lost out on his back benefits. So it's unfortunate. So know the rules, follow the rules. It's too bad for this individual. Next one is Deborah. And Deborah was going through the approval process. Her situation was a little different. Well, no, actually quite significantly different. And if you're just joining this, I have my hat on and the prop and Frank in the background, exemplifying what happens for those that do it their way and it doesn't always pay off, with the James and the Deborah story. So with Deborah, she was taking care of an individual at his house. It was like an elder care arrangement where she would drive about 30 miles. She would basically sit around, put out meds, make sure this individual was safe, get in her car, come home. Not a real taxing job, but the income that she was making was right around the allowed amount. That was problem one. Problem two is she didn't file her taxes, and she was an independent contractor. So although she was doing the work, she testified she was doing the work, the judge could not look at what her actual earnings were. So he just flat out denied the case, saying it's your responsibility if you're working to file your taxes. And she did not do that. And so that just basically shot the whole case. The whole medical condition side of it, which likely was solid, was gone. So those are a few things to keep in mind there. So again, just understand the rules, what you can make while you're going through the approval process, and what you can make when you are on your Social Security disability benefits. All right, let me see if there's any closing questions that people have here that I may have missed. I don't believe I see any out there today, so that's cool. All right, I'm going to wrap up the show then. Listen, everybody, thanks so much for joining. We're here most Wednesdays, unless we're not, so welcome you to join us. Put a post and usually put a notification up in the morning. But if you have questions like the Shannons and the Doreens and the others, keep them coming. We'll do our best to answer them for you. If you need help in any way, if you're a Disability Digest member, let's first of all talk about that. You can reply to any of the email correspondence that you get. Contact your advocate here. We'll help you out that way. If you're not a member of the Disability Digest, we'd love to have you join us as a member. It's free. It's like a radio or a TV station. You have all this programming with great advice and content and mixed in. So just go to thedisabilitydigest.com, or you can text us. If you're not a member or you're a member, and submit your question, we can direct you in the right way. And you can text us at 484848. So number 48, three times, I get that right, 484848. We'd be glad to help you out. Listen, everybody, thank you for participating, for enjoying. I hope you find value in this. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Until the next time, it's been Brian Terrian. Make it a great day. And don't do it your way. All right.